Patience for non-business owners. Hi, I'm Brian Pombo. Welcome back to Brian J. Pombo Live. I'm saying you, if you're a business owner, if you're an executive, one of the people that's in charge of a business, you have to have patience for people who aren't. If people do not own a business, have never owned a business, have never ran a business, they're going to view the world in a different way than you view it. And they may not understand how business functions or how it works, and you got to be patient with them. You can't just come unglued on them and try and shout them down and think that they're just being belligerent, because many times they aren't. It's not taught in schools. It's not taught out there in public. It's not being really pushed all that much with our media. You don't see a whole lot of reality TV shows showing the reality of business. They'll show the outside fun parts of business and so forth. You know, that something like, what was I thinking of? The Shark Tank. Shark Tank, you know, it shows the idea of pitching a business idea to a possible investor. Okay, that's the fun side of business, right? That's not business itself. The day-to-day running of a business, how it works, how profits are difficult to come by in certain periods of time until you find out how, and then profits can be used, and all these things matter. And they matter really to how our economy runs and everything else. Another show I was thinking of, Pawn Stars, that show all about the pawn store. They show the interaction, the give and take between a person trying to sell something and the pawn place for taking it. That's the fun side. They don't show the down and dirty stuff behind the scenes. So I was having a conversation with a friend on Facebook, because he had posted, and I'd seen these posts quite often, but this is somebody that I feel like I communicate with pretty well. And he had posted something about how horrible gas prices were, and how all these things that really weren't to blame for it, how he thought they were to blame for it. And at first you feel like exploding, especially if you've been involved in business or you understand how business works. And if you have any understanding whatsoever, dealing with somebody like that is difficult, but you got to be patient, and you got to say, okay, what if they really don't have any idea? What if they really don't have any clue? And you look at how the different political positions he promotes and everything, it's pretty clear he doesn't understand it. And so I take my time and I outline some of these ideas to see if anything sticks. You don't know if it ever will. You can't expect anybody to believe you, but you got to be patient. You have to be patient with people, and you got to find creative ways to educate as best as possible while still being open, because they may have an idea that is muddled with all the nonsense that they come up with. See, when you're, for those of you who aren't in business, I'm not trying to talk down to you or say that you're stupid. What the real idea is, though, is business is a very difficult game of math and psychology. And the math part is most of the time a very tight game. And the concept of profits is a very subjective idea. It's not this very clear-cut idea. It's very subjective. And whether you're going to declare something as a profit versus put the money back into the business to continue it to grow, to allow it to continue to exist, to use on marketing, all these other things. The difference between those two things is it's a very thin line. And just because a business shows a profit doesn't mean that that business is doing any good. And for those of us who have been involved in businesses that failed, you know that a whole lot of businesses can show themselves as being profitable and not be that way. Also, the way that businesses handle regulation, and whether regulation is good for business or bad for business, well, it's both. Regulation's really good for big business and really bad for small and medium-sized business, but the bigger you get, the more helpful it is because it weeds out competition. These are things that aren't discussed. They aren't talked about very often. In the outside world, it just isn't brought up. And when you're in business, it starts to become second nature because you start experiencing these things. The longer you're in business, the more you experience, the more different types of industries you're involved in, which I've had the blessing to be involved in a whole lot of different industries, working as a consultant, working as an investor, and so forth. These type of things you pick up. But one thing I can say from a business owner's perspective is if you are a business owner, if you are running a business of any type, you have to be patient with those around you because most people don't necessarily understand what it takes. Most people it's not difficult for them to label business owners as the bad guys because they just don't know any better. And so do your best to encourage people to start their own businesses. Do your best to encourage people to be the big mean business owner because it's going to help them in the long run. They'll get the education that comes with it. They'll also have the ability to possibly grow something that can last for quite a while. So hopefully that's helpful to you. I've got a book, 9 Ways to Amazon Proof Your Business. It doesn't have anything to do with this. What it has to do with is how to make your business competition proof. So if that's something you'd be interested in, it's a short book. You get it on Amazon.com or any of the other places that sell books, or you can download a free copy off my website, AmazonProofBook.com. That's all I have for tonight. You have a good one. Come back again and we'll have another chat. In the meantime, get out there and let the magic happen.